Basically, all facilities that sell or trade with animals should be regulated.
Biggest issues is finding people the pet responsibility. If you take on a pet, it's having the responsibility for it for the rest of its life, not getting bored of it and getting rid of it within 6 months or 8 months. When you go on vacation, it's paying for someone to look after it and not just throwing it out on the street. Our biggest problem is getting people that will commit to taking them with them when they leave, and that's why there's so many stray animals on the streets at the moment.
We started 2004. We basically started in an attempt to rescue and rehome all the stray, abandoned animals in Qatar. It started out with 2 puppies and has grown quite large now. We have around 130 dogs, 90 cats, 10 rabbits, and the various assorted farm animals that are permanently on site.
Yeah, just in case something, you know.
Yeah, South African?
No, a friend. A friend here.
Okay, what do you have his house number?
You don't want to remind him?
Okay, I'll put yours emergency contact.
The biggest obstacles that we face at the moment is the lack of animal welfare legislation. There's no laws regarding animals, so people that are abusing animals, there's no repercussion because it's not illegal. It's very difficult for us to become a registered organisation because there's no laws in place. And with not being registered, we're finding it difficult with getting sponsorship, corporate sponsorship, and we struggle on a daily basis because we're purely funded by donations and we're run by volunteers.
We have a really good volunteer base. On some days we can have 20, 30 people down. Some days are quieter than others. We do a lot of work with the schools. We have a lot of schools that come down in groups, and a lot of those students have chosen to come down in their free time to help us, which is amazing. We rent from a sheikh, so we've been here. He's very supportive of what we do. He allows us to walk the dogs on the farm, so he's very supportive of us and he's happy for us to stay here. It costs us around 60,000 riyals a month for rent, food, and the water. Everything else, like medical expenses, is in addition to that, so it's quite an expensive hobby.
Our biggest issues is finding people the pet responsibility. If you take on a pet, it's having the responsibility for it for the rest of its life, not getting bored of it and getting rid of it within 6 months or 8 months. When you go on vacation, it's paying for someone to look after it and not just throwing it out on the street. Our biggest problem is getting people that will commit to taking them with them when they leave, and that's why there's so many stray animals on the streets at the moment.
We have around 300 animals at the moment, dogs, cats, rabbits that are all up for adoption. We have a couple of donkeys, a sheep, a goat, a bull, various assorted chickens, geese, ducks. They're all permanent fixtures on the farm. We do have our 4 baboons that we're hoping to send to the UAE, to a wildlife sanctuary, but it's a very long process, obviously because of them being classed as wild animals. We also have a couple of hedgehogs, albino hedgehogs that can't be released, so they're with us permanently, and we have a couple of parakeets. of our animals are picked up from the streets. A lot of them are literally left at the shelter, as in tied to the fence as a surprise in the morning for us. People do contact us to say they no longer want their animal, but we will try wherever we can to work with them to either keep their animal if it's a behaviour issue, or if it's a case where there's an issue with their accommodation, we will try and help them to rehome the animal from the home so the dog or cat doesn't have to physically come into the shelter. We would love to be able to take as many animals that we're contacted about, but we just don't physically have the space or the funding to do that right now. Qatar isn't a place where most dogs and cats would survive without any form of shade or shelter. The summer temperatures, you know, especially for a lot of the dogs here with the thicker coats, the double coats, we get a lot of huskies in. They're not designed for this climate. Even the local dogs, the Saluki, they suffer from skin conditions, skin complaints if they're in the sun for too long. You know, it's a very harsh environment. We can't survive in the summer without AC. Animals, dogs, cats, their body temperature is even slightly higher than ours. So for them, it's even harder to deal with. They don't have the physical capabilities to cool down like we have. They don't sweat in the same way. So air conditioning is basically they have to be air conditioned.
We don't have a vet cause, we use all the private clinics, which obviously costs us an absolute fortune. And we have to pay the same fees as everybody else, and it is purely just by donations, finding people that will sponsor a surgery. If we have an animal that comes in with a broken leg, we're looking at probably 5,000 riyals worth of vet bills. And for us to be able to help that animal, we need to find someone first that will help cover the costs.
Yes. An apple, yes. Next time I bring an apple for you, huh? A little bit of an apple.
And really, we'd just like to say thank you to everyone that does support us, really, and helps us on what is sometimes a very hard job. But every time someone leaves us to go to their forever home, it's all worth it, and you forget all the troubles and all the problems that you face daily just to see one animal leave and go home to a happy house where you know they're going to be loved and cared for. And that's what it's all about. If we can rescue and rehome one animal, then it's all been worth it.